What's shaking, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more acid-trance. And we're going back to the very first Telica record. Those of you who know Telica, and in fact I have a white label, as you see here, this is Telica 1. But yeah, those of you who know Telica will know it was basically an offshoot of Eve. It's more Pablo Gargano, it's more David Craig, and indeed, Telica, although Pablo does show up, usually under his alias Paul Garn, and also engineering David Craig's tracks. Yeah, it's a label that even though it's from those same people, again, Pablo and Simon Eve and so on, Pablo is not as, ubiquitous on the label as he is Eve. Again, like the first 20, 25 Eves are pretty much all Pablo except for like 2 or 3 David Craig tracks. Telica, there's a bit more variety, there's K90, there's multiple David Craig EPs, and indeed, the opening EP on Telica is by Experimental Flux, like with an X, Fluxtuation. Apparently they made more famously tunes under the name Brooklyn Boy. I think it was like house music. I want to say they're like a Scottish duo. I looked this up earlier. I think I still have the page out. So yeah, Experimental Fluctuation, they made 2 releases, one on EF Music in '95, and then the one on Telica, which is called The Last Paradise EP. Doesn't say that on my copy. It just says Telica 1, and then, in fact, oh, that's right, it says by Experimental Fluctuation, but it doesn't say The Last Paradise EP on the white label. Regardless, they made tunes, did Experimental Fluctuation, also under the names Ultrasonic, Brooklyn Boy, and Lord Michael. And it was a duo, Majorca Lee and Roger Hughes. So I don't know much about their work on any other of those releases or under those other names, but this is a brilliant release of just charismatic, driving, but also sort of emotional and epic acid trance. Arguably the best Telica record. There's a couple David Craig EPs that are really good. The Numbing the Senses EP, and I forget what the other one's called. I have them both. We'll get through those. Those are awesome. But yeah, there's 3 tracks on this record. They're all brilliant. They're all like A level. Like you could mix them in any set with Pablo's tunes, any mix with like, Nostrum or Cores. Like it's on that level of 90s acid trance. So this is 1997, Telica 1. We're going to listen to a tune called Anjuna. I'll eventually get to all 3 of these because Man Does Not Understand, that's a great tune. And then Life Moves. If you've ever seen Ferris Bueller, you'll know the sample from that one. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around every once in a while, you might miss it. But yeah, we're going to start with Anjuna, which is the most, I would say, like melodic and sort of hard trance epic of the tunes, but again, it's like driving acid trance, and it's in that Eve Telica sort of flavor, so it kind of has like, Pablo Gargano stylings a little bit, which, isn't surprising because he was kind of the main man in terms of producing the quality on Eve and Telica, certainly Eve. But yeah, let's get to it. This is Experimental Fluctuation. Anjuna is the track, and this is from Telica 1, 1997. And as I said, this is a white label. 45 or 33? I guess we'll find out. I feel like I'm waiting for a bus. Okay, we're good. That little submarine ping. noticed on Discogs earlier, this label, or this release, is given the labels hard trance and Goa trance. I love Goa, but this would be the only tune where maybe you could say that term applies, and to me this is acid trance, this is hard trance. So I was curious, like, you know, who made that designation. I mean, it's a user-based wiki, but I respectfully disagree. Like underwater, like metallic sound. But coming to the surface. Oh, that little... like hard staccato synth. Kind of acid bass gurgling underneath. But the real acid fireworks are still coming. Little touches. Kind of like alien tractor beam sort of sound. A real melodic layer is about to come in. Again, like, I'm guessing it was this track that led them to call this Goa trance, but the farthest I'll go is like a little psy-flavored hard trance. But we're about to get acid. It's coming. I like the clap going in there. And now that melody, which kind of crept in the back door, has sort of permeated throughout the whole track. Now it's kind of chopped up a little bit. Those kick rolls. Getting funky back there. I love when the acid does come in this. It's just like, hello. I'm just gonna aerate in real quick. Gonna drop everything out and just let the acid climb on its own for a second. It's coming. Those rolls are just insane. Scaling the mountain and then coming around the backside. Oh, I forgot. Yeah. I knew the acid came back around. I forgot about that old school trance melody. Acid burning hot. still doing the tractor beam thing. Yeah, like I said, it's a 3-tracker for sure. So we'll come back for the other two. Like I said, I think that one's the most trancey. The other two, you know, they're hard trance. They're driving sort of, you know, E-style acid trance, but they're not as melodic as that. They're not as sort of like euphoric or uplifting in a couple places like that one was. So yeah, the other two. They're a very similar flavor, but a little more focused and serious. So, like I said, one of them is, I forget what it's from. You know, Kokuma sampled it too. It's like this old school recording, like man cannot, will not, and does not understand. But ultimately, yeah, I forget what it's from. I think it even like quotes scripture or something. But yeah, that's the man does not understand. And then the other one samples, as I said, Ferris Bueller, which, you know, it's a movie I remember seeing from my youth, so I was very amused when I heard that, because, you know, it's just one of those classic lines that, you know, what's his name? RZA and the Gravediggers, you know, RZA from Wu-Tang sampled that line, so. But yeah, bottom line, we'll come back for the other two. Do let me know what you think of this. As I said, I really only know this duo who went by experimental Fluxtuation for at least a couple releases for this record. So yeah, if you know any Brooklyn Boy or any of the other material that they made tunes under, do let me know. Other than that, I will see you next time. Peace.